With the mess that's going on with this Iran war, it's important that people stop and realize it is okay for MAGA voters to disagree with Trump. There's an awful lot of people, I'd say more than half of the MAGA voters I know, that are not happy with what's going on with this Iran war and all these fake negotiations. But then on the other hand, you've got the blind faith, mad zealots who can't be talked to. If you disagree with Trump about anything, they come out of the wood. You could say that you didn't like his necktie, and they would come out of the woodwork and just gut you. Oh yeah, you're a liberal blank tard, and you should die. You hate Trump. Go ahead. You're sleeping with Kamala, and you want Iran to win. These people are lunatic idiots. Unfortunately, they're on both sides, but I'll tell you, it is okay to disagree with the president. Thanks for coming back to another episode of What They Don't Say, because this conversation needs to be had. No one else is having it because right-wing media won't admit that there's a split. And left-wing media, they're just a mess. They're even missing the easy slow-pitch softballs. But we got to discuss this because we've got a right and responsibility to disagree with the president when we feel like he's making a mistake. You got to stop and think. There isn't a person out there, there isn't a parent out there that hasn't disagreed with their kids. People have been pretty mad about decisions that kids have made. They still love the kids, they still support the kids. Spouses get mad. They will get mad at each other over decisions and disagreements. They're still in support. These shallow people that won't allow any kind of disagreement with Trump, they're too stupid to listen to, because I tell you, this really is an ongoing mess. Now, one of the reasons that Trump was so popular in the first place and drew so many MAGA voters was because he always had a clear message. You always knew what he was thinking. You had confidence that the man was always going to stay on message. It was always going to do the right thing, and it was not ever going to contradict that. He was solid, predictable, and inspired confidence. He said what he meant what he said, and he followed through exactly as he said it. Now we've got a situation with this war where he is not on a solid message. He contradicts himself constantly. We're going to get into that, but there's also a couple of points that he should be making in these talks, these fake talks. We should not even be in negotiations with a terrorist state in the first place. We went to war with Iraq because we talked ourselves to death for 47 years. Nothing was ever accomplished. They never keep a deal. They're liars. They're backstabbers. They're not going to change. It's a tyrannical regime. So we went to war because we had irreconcilable differences. When you start a war on those circumstances, you fight the war until somebody is willing to concede. Somebody must win. Someone must lose. Instead, we dropped out in the middle of it, and nobody's won. And all of a sudden, we're asking them to start talking. We did that for 47 years. It's irreconcilable differences. In U.S. history, nobody has ever walked away from a war while they were winning and said, we're going to force the other side to talk, even though they're radical nutcases who can't be trusted and don't want to talk. Trump should tell them right off the bat, look, either we meet with the actual friggin' leader face to face, or the talks are off and the wars restart. We're using the military. One of the things he promised from the start was he was going to end the reign of Iranian terror around the world. He was going to kill their power to be a terrorist threat around the world. He was going to free the people up so they could have their own elections, choose their own government. People believed him. 40,000 of them got murdered in the streets because they believed him. And they ran out to start the uprising that he encouraged, and he left them there. 40,000 got killed, and he walked away while we were winning. We cannot trust this regime. But how can anybody say they're dealing with the leaders of Iran when even Trump goes to a microphone And he says, oh, we're dealing with the leaders. The leaders really want a deal. And then in the same conversation, we'll tell you, we don't really know who's running Iran. We don't know if the Ayatollah is still alive. They've got this Ayatollah Murtaba Khamenei. And this guy has not been seen since the right bomb was dropped. They say, well, maybe he's got a leg problem. You know, maybe he's upset. Oh, he's just scared. He's in hiding. Prove it. There is no proof this guy is still alive. Of course, we've got intel, but that is not a perfect science. We still don't know if this guy is alive. They might all know that he's dead, that he got killed when that bomb fell on him in the first place. They could be over there laughing their asses off at Trump thinking that he's dealing with this guy when the guy's been worm food for months now. But if Iran is going to insult us, if they're going to dictate the terms and they're going to say, no, we're not going to have any talks, but if you go over to Pakistan, we'll send some people over there. They'll sit in another room and Pakistan can pass messages back and forth. Well, may I remind the world right now that Pakistan doesn't deserve that kind of credibility. They are the ones that were hiding Osama bin Laden. Pakistan is another Muslim country that cannot be trusted because of past actions and because of their own personal history. So why are we elevating them to the status of somebody that's worthy of conducting negotiations on behalf of the United States? Screw this. When did we start bending over for these people and letting Iran dictate the terms of these talks? No. Trump, this has got to stop. They have to prove who the leader is because we can't make a deal with a leader that doesn't exist. Trump himself says we don't know who is in charge, so how can we possibly make a deal when we don't even know who is in charge and they won't let us talk to them? It isn't up to them. We dictate these terms. There are no terms except full and unconditional surrender. This is a war, damn it. This isn't finagling over a real estate deal in Manhattan, okay? Let's stop pretending that it is. The art of the deal doesn't apply when you're using different standards for what validates a deal. Trump just thinks markets and, oh, it's hurting their economy. Iranians don't give a rat's ass about that. They will die to the last man. They will break themselves. They know they got oil in the ground and they can get more out later. They don't care. Their concerns are not the same as our concerns. That's why we have borders in different countries, because people feel differently about things in different parts of the world. They don't give a rat's ass. The people do, but the people are not in charge. They're under the tyranny of a regime. Now, Trump has stated on multiple occasions, and he made Carolyn Levitt get out there too and say the same thing. As a matter of fact, he had Hegseth do it. Trump passes the orders on the talking points. You can tell because they all say the same thing at the same time, and it's all pro-Trump. It's all Trump campaign speeches. Carolyn Levitt out there saying, as did Hegseth and Trump, oh, there has been a regime change. Donald Trump has forced a regime change in Iran. He killed everybody. It's like, no, this is the same regime with new leaders, and we don't know who those leaders are. Now, they've got a fragmented control system where they got, 31 different provinces, and there's leaders in each province that can operate independently with the RGC and other forces in those provinces. They don't need a tight central command. They have a different structure than we do. So it doesn't matter if they can communicate or not, but they are communicating. They obviously are. And we're getting nowhere with this. We have been in a fake ceasefire for longer than we were in the actual war. We have the most expensive, most highly trained Navy in the world sitting 200 miles out from Hormuz because it isn't safe for them to go up there. Are you friggin' kidding me? Trump says, oh, we shot down, they got nothing. They got no Air Force. They got no Navy. They got no soldiers. They're done. Their Navy is floating on the bottom of the ocean, however that happens. I don't know. I thought they floated at the top, sank to the bottom. But they're floating on the bottom of the ocean, and they can't do anything. Next thing we know, they've still got over 850 of those 1,000 fast boats they started with. That is Navy. That is why the straits are still closed. We've got pictures from CENTCOM of over 100 of those small boats out there in clusters, but they couldn't shoot them because Trump has them under ceasefire orders. We should have taken them all out. We took out more damn Venezuelan fast boats than we did these Iranians. How come it was so easy down there in the Caribbean and we can't do it over here? We've got these apes running around holding us at bay because Trump decided to quit fighting before the war's over, and I am not happy about it. I'm a Trump supporter. Of course, he's done a lot of great things, but he's made some big, stupid blunders too. So let's not pretend. I am not going to have this TMS. TDS is just flat stupid. We all know that. Everyone laughs about TDS. Well, TMS is just as stupid. That is Trump Messiah syndrome. I don't have it. I see so many people saying, I don't know what he's doing, but I trust him. It's going to be right. Trump doesn't make mistakes. Trump doesn't get a bad deal. Yes, he does. He's human. He is not an infallible God. Trump is a human. He makes mistakes just like your kids, you, your spouse. I know people that will leave their church because they're not happy with the pastor, but yet they tell you you cannot disagree with Trump. This is not healthy. This is TMS, Trump Messiah syndrome. We have got to be honest. That is how you put pressure on these officials. You got to be honest. We got to be outspoken. We got to be public about this, which is why our founders gave us the First Amendment right to redress government for grievances in the first place. It is our duty. Trump is making a mistake with this. We should not be in a ceasefire. And another thing, they're talking about releasing money, the Iranian funds that they've got seized. Bullshit. Not going to release a damn dime while this regime is still in charge. I don't care if it's their money. We're not going to release a dime. And now they're saying Iran wanted reparations. Trump says, we're not going to do reparations, but we will start a Rebuild Iran fund, and we will contribute to that. That is buying them off. Bullshit. We are not going to. Not one dime goes to Iran while this regime is still in charge. Not one damn dime until they have an election and we know that the people are in charge of their own country again. Why give more money to terrorists? Why was it bad when Obama did it? Why was it bad when Biden did it? And now it's okay if we just package it a different way and decide a different way to give them money. How about we negotiate with terrorists? Of course, no one else is supposed to. It's a stupid thing to do, but we're doing it. Not only are we doing it, we're letting them call the shots. Okay, we have to go to Pakistan, another enemy country that suddenly is our best friend, another radical Muslim country that has really done bad things to us, and we put them in charge of negotiating. Yeah, I want to take a minute and tell you people, I really appreciate your input on this topic because MAGA has never been so divided on anything since the inception of MAGA. Although, wait a minute, I got to take that back. We were severely divided on the Trump vax when he gave billions of dollars to Big Pharma to come out with a vax that was untested and then get it out in the markets in warp speed. It was called Operation Warp Speed. Trump created it. We were severely divided on that. We got through it. People just battled it out and got through it. But now it's gotten to a different level of discourse, and you can't disagree with Trump about anything without these TMS lunatics coming out and accusing you of being lower than Kamala poop. I mean, come on. People have got to learn how to talk. This is important that we do it. I hope you leave a comment. I hope you subscribe and come back, because if you go back through the archives, we got completely honest, constitutional conversation on a lot of topics that no one else covers. This needs to be covered. At this point, it's the 30th of May, Saturday evening, when I'm recording this. We're still waiting on Trump's decision about whether we're going to restart talks, because we're going to have talks and we're going to start a ceasefire. We're already in a ceasefire. They keep saying we're in a ceasefire. Now we're going to get in a ceasefire. We're going to have not an agreement. It's a memorandum of understanding. It's not even an agreement. We don't even know who it's with. Please comment. I'd love to hear what people have got to say about this. There should be no dollars until regime change. Now, Trump is saying he doesn't care about the elections. He knows that this might hurt the U.S. in the election, or it might hurt Republicans in the election, but he doesn't care about the election. That's all he friggin' cares about. He's going out, he's campaigning with people, he's bragging about how he got people pushed over the line, how he got this guy thrown out, how he and his endorsement elevated this nobody, and he won. Of course, Trump is always talking about the election, so don't tell us. This is a problem. This is why we have a crisis of confidence among MAGA voters, because Trump is contradicting himself. He's got to learn to walk past a microphone. You don't have to stop and talk to every damn one of them. But you got to stop contradicting yourself. You got to stop saying, we don't need any help, and then come out 10 minutes later and say, Europe should be helping. He has done this with Europe, Japan, India, South Korea. He even did this on his recent visit to China. China is the biggest supporter of Iran. They are tight allies. They've been having war games together for 25 years. They are absolutely in bed and under the covers together. And Trump thought he was going to talk Z out of that. No way. And the whole world knew that Z wasn't going to bend for him. Trump goes over to China and tells Z that he needs to help us with Iran. He needs to help get the straits open. After telling the whole world 100 times that we don't need any help, he begs China for help. And then he comes back and says China's going to do it. I told everybody he wasn't going to do it. Z is not going to change. Z hates us. He hates Trump. Z did not give him that big hug that Trump said he had coming. Look, we know Trump. We know how he talks. But you can't say things that contradict yourself. You've got to have the message that we fell in love with Trump voting for. We like the clear, consistent message. We could listen to it. We thought, yes, this is true. Yes, we believe this. This guy is talking the talk and he walks the walk. We believe this because the message is consistent. Now it's all over the place with this Iran war. We know, actually, he expected the whole war to be over just like it was in Venezuela, just like it was when they went over and bombed the nuke sites. He wanted a fast, easy, quick action, and he thought he was going to shock them into saying, oh my God, we're ruined, we give up, okay, tell us what to do, Trump. That's why he started out saying it'd be 2 to 4 weeks. Then he changed it to 4 to 6 weeks. The TMS people got mad when I said it's going to take a lot longer than 6 weeks. All of a sudden, I was rooting for Iran. I had to delete old social media friends that I've had for 10, 15 years because they said I was supporting Iran by saying this was not going to be over in 6 weeks. Anyway, there's no way it could be. But Trump has not spent his whole life running war. He spent his whole life negotiating in business. When things didn't start going his way, like he expected in war, he had to develop a plan B. What does he do? He goes back to what he knows. That's negotiations. He is comfortable negotiating. He was not comfortable in managing a war. And you know, he calls the shots. The army will come to him with plans, military people, but he is the one that makes the decisions, and he became uncomfortable with that. So he tried to go back to familiar territory where he's comfortable. But now we're negotiating with people who might not even exist through an enemy country with a tyrannical regime that we know we can't trust. This is not the time to be negotiating. No. You guys should all be helping. You should be helping. He contacts them personally and tells them, you should be helping. We're doing this all ourselves. It's not even our oil. We're not even concerned. I don't even care about this oil. But it was open until he started this. It is his job to clean it up. but he tells these people, get over here and help. And then he runs back to another microphone and says, we don't even need any help. We've got this. Everyone else is cowards. We've got this. You are not going to encourage people to follow you when you can't even maintain a consistent message. Trump, you have got to sit down and get your act together on this. You've got to have a clear message. You've got to have a better plan than negotiating with terrorists. You better have a better plan than giving this regime money. You better have a better plan than making any kind of deal with this terrorist regime. You better have a better plan than walking away and letting these same people be in charge after the promises you already made to the Iranian people. You better stop driving away all of our allies who want to help. Within a few days ago, you said that you decided not to resume war because Oman, Qatar, and the UAE asked you not to. They all categorically denied it. They said, we didn't even have that conversation. This is you, Trump. You're the one doing this. So what if somebody asked you to? I've heard people say that, oh, there's people on his team that won't let him restart the war. What kind of lame excuse is that? Won't let Trump start the war? Nobody tells Trump what to do. The UAE isn't telling him, Qatar isn't, the Jews aren't, no matter what the idiots and the Tucker fans think, and the Candace Owens people, probably the Q-tards too. Trump is making his own decisions, and he's making some bad ones. Don't tell me he can't make a bad deal. He is the one that gave billions of dollars to all the big pharma companies so they could rush out a vax. And he's the one that made the deal include the companies would not be responsible for anything. No matter what went wrong, the companies weren't responsible. No matter who died, the companies weren't responsible. The company employees that were making this vax that he was encouraging them to shoot into us, they didn't have to get it, but everyone else did. This is nonsense. Yes, Trump makes bad deals. Of course he does. Trump signed the Nancy Pelosi $2.2 trillion COVID relief fund, which he admitted at the time only about 15% of it actually went to COVID relief, and the rest was all Democrat programs. Well, now we know what happens with the Democrat program money, don't we? How much of that COVID relief fund disappeared in fraud? But Trump is a human. He's going to make mistakes. He's done so much good, we can forget the mistakes, but we have to call them out when they're happening. I complained about the COVID stuff. I complained about that stupid COVID relief bill. I complained about flatten the curve, shut down the country, err on the side of caution. I complained about all of that. Those were all Trump decisions. Trump did that. I didn't want the vax. Trump did that. But I still voted for him because he was the best man to be president in this era. He was the best choice of all choices available. He's been a stellar president, but he makes mistakes, for God's sakes. People who can't comprehend the details or don't understand the situation, they resort to blind faith to carry them through these troubling times. Trump is playing 3D chess, 5D chess, 8D chess. If Trump's playing 8D chess, then what the hell kind of chess is Iran playing for backing down the world's greatest superpower, insulting them, refusing to meet with them, and still having them trying to force you into a ceasefire? They are mocking us. They've come out with statements mocking this. They don't want a ceasefire. Why are we trying to force them into one? And this nonsense of saying that, oh, this is a ceasefire. Yeah, there's been some violations, and yeah, they're shooting at us and we're shooting at them, but it's not. But it's a ceasefire. No, a ceasefire is when everybody stops shooting. Okay, this is basic. This is like third grade stuff. People aren't shooting at each other in a ceasefire. This is not a real ceasefire. These are not real negotiations. There is no real deal being offered because we don't even know who is really in charge. And it is really okay to speak up and criticize anybody for any kind of mistake they make while they're at the helm. It is our job. Now, Trump thinks that, hey, everything's good in the markets. That's all that matters. No, The gas prices matter to the whole world. This is hurting the global economy. It's causing the prices of everything to go up. 3.8% inflation now. Family budgets are hurting over this. I know Trump came out and he said, well, I don't really think about the Americans' finances. Yeah, you damn well better, because we do. We don't want to hear it. Why would you even say something like that? You've done so much to help people. I mean, look at the tax, no tax on tips. Look at the breaks you've given to the families. And then why would you even come out and say you don't care when it's obvious you've already taken steps to prove you do? They demonstrate that you do. You don't have control of your own message right now. You've got to be more careful. You've got to be more circumspect. You've got to think more about what you're saying and doing, and you have got to rethink this policy with this Iran, this fake negotiations, through fake negotiators, through fake friends in Pakistan, carrying notes down the hall. This is just stupid. We are not having negotiations. We're sending papers off to somewhere. God only knows where. We don't know who reads them, who sends them back, but we do know that with Trump's trip to China, the Iranian foreign minister went there before and after. Putin has been there, and they are working together a lot better. So another thing, Trump saying, hey, Putin's going to give me a big hug. He loves me. He loves what I'm doing for him. No, they've found other ways to get that Iranian oil, and they're getting it out. And Trump is being careful enough. He's not getting a direct confrontation with China over this. We don't need that, but they are pushing for it. They're pushing for it. We've got to get this thing under control. We got to wrap this damn thing up. Iran has a 1 million-man army. They've got things buried underneath the ground just like they did over in Gaza. We haven't disarmed them. They've still got stuff buried underground. Now, CENTCOM admits that, yeah, they've still got over 60% of their missiles. They are not disarmed like Trump keeps telling us they are. They are not disarmed, or we would have the straits open. It would be safe. We've got to set our blockade 200 miles away because he's afraid that they're going to shoot missiles and drones into him. They're already hitting ships over there in the Gulf. They're hitting neighboring countries anytime they feel like it. They are not disarmed. Stop telling us they are. This is, again, another case of telling us one thing when we all know that's not true. This is not how you were when you campaigned. Your message was clear. Well, I know this has you rattled. I know the situation didn't turn out the way you expected, but you cannot contradict yourself. You cannot tell us things that we know are not true. Iran is not disarmed. They are not begging for a ceasefire. They are not begging for an end to it. Because every time you say that you're getting close on talks, they throw out more stumbling blocks. Quit telling us this is almost over and it's going to be solved by Manhattan real estate type negotiations. This is war. This has got to be fixed. We're not going to fix it with fake negotiations. We got to get this right, my friends. But it is okay to speak your mind. It is your duty as a patriotic citizen in a representative republic with a constitution that guarantees you freedom of speech. Either that or you don't have a right to disagree with your wife, your kids, your pastor, fellow employees, or anybody else. Anybody else. Because if you disagree, that means that you hate and you want them dead. What a bunch of idiots. The people who claim that they're MAGA people, but they're just radical nutcase zealots that are just as bad as the Muslim zealots, forget them. It's our job to talk to our president. We got to get this right. If we do, maybe God will continue to bless this great country of ours. Thanks for listening.